thousands of Russian troops have been deployed after a meteor shower rained down on the southern Urals region. Friday was a day of close encounters from space. Astronomers had been waiting the arrival of the 50-meter-wide asteroid called 2012 DA14. It flew about 28,000 kilometers above the Indian Ocean, the closest pass by such a large object in a century. But there was no warning before the much smaller meteor, apparently unconnected to the asteroid that hit Russia. The rock exploded as it entered the Earth's atmosphere, with fragments injuring more than 1,000 people and causing widespread damage.
These stargazers in the Philippines tried to catch a glimpse of the space rock as it hurtled overhead at more than 17,000 miles per hour. Asteroid 2012 DA14 has now moved away, but this was the largest known object of its size to pass this close. Cloudy skies in some parts of the world made it difficult to spot, but these pictures from an observatory in Australia show the asteroid on its trajectory from south to north.
NASA is currently studying about 9,000 of these near-Earth asteroids. About 1,800 of them are fairly large, and those are of very particular interest to us. We study their orbital motions, and we understand where they'll be extrapolated well into the future.
The asteroid has a diameter of 45 meters. It would cover about half a football pitch. It passed inside the orbit of the most distant satellites, about 17,000 miles from Earth. If a rock this size did ever strike, it could do enormous damage to the Earth. Scientists estimate it would wipe out around 750 square miles.
For the larger one, now we start to be more confident to have detected them almost all for the very big one, and we have been able to predict that there will be no catastrophic collision with the Earth for the next century. But for the intermediate size one, then we still need to work hard.
The U.S. space agency NASA says the asteroid, called 2012 DA14, with an estimated mass of 130,000 metric tons, was closest to Earth at around 4:25 a.m. on Saturday, Japan time. It was about 27,700 kilometers above Earth's surface and below satellites in stationary orbit. Astronomers and space enthusiasts in Japan tried to observe the object. Scientists at the Kashima Space Technology Center near Tokyo confirmed the asteroid's path as it formed a streak of light in the night sky. The approach of such an asteroid so close to Earth is rare. NASA says an asteroid of this size so close to Earth occurs once in 40 years on average.
In open fields across the country, stargazers prepared to look at the skies. Perhaps a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to witness history through a telescope.
First one that we've been able to do, so a very exciting moment for us all.
An object like this travelling through the solar system, it just shows you the power and the enormity of the universe. That's how I feel anyway.
This is the European Space Agency's interpretation of the space rock. For scientists, this was a phenomenon not to be missed.
We're not really that much worried about the small ones, even though, as we've seen today, they can cause damage. It's the big ones we worry about, things that are a kilometre in size that could cause a global catastrophe. And the fact that we can find asteroids that are so small and track them so well is a really good sign.
The asteroid poses no danger to humankind as it passes our planet at a speed in excess of 17,000 miles per hour. It is an interesting insight into the final frontier.
This is extremely rare footage of a meteorite streaking across the sky. What happened next was even more unusual. A traffic camera captures the moment it passes over Chelyabinsk, a city some 1,500 kilometers east of Moscow. Within minutes it rained fireballs over a vast area, causing a shockwave that smashed windows, damaged buildings and left more than 1,000 people injured.
As frightening as it was, scientists say it's not all that rare to have meteors falling out of the sky. What's not common is when they hit largely populated areas.
Small bodies like that hit the Earth regularly. Every year there's probably several, mostly over oceans.
Denton Abel is the curator of meteorites at the American Museum of Natural History. His attention had been solely focused on the asteroid passing the Earth and was stunned the meteor and the asteroid both occurred within 24 hours of each other.
Are they related in any way?
As far as we know, they're not related.
Abel says the gap in time between the two events was too wide for them to be related. And then there's a matter of size.
The size difference between the big one, 45 meters, and this little guy, which is maybe 3 meters, that airbursted over Russia, is so large that there would have to be more. We don't see that. So it is a cosmic coincidence.
Unlike the asteroid passing the Earth, he says the meteor that hit Russia was too small to be detected. But the cosmic coincidence has left him a bit unnerved.
Yes, we can predict things. We know the laws of gravity, we know the masses of the planets and so forth. We can predict what's going to happen down the road. But the interplay of all these celestial bodies together and the ones we don't know about is such to make it kind of scary in a way.
There was literally 3 or 4 seconds of bright light, then back to normal. I was watching from the car and this trail appeared. Then while I was driving, the explosion happened.
Witnesses say there were around 3 or 4 loud explosions in total as the meteor shower hit the ground. The impact caused widespread damage and injured around 1,000 people, mostly due to flying shards of glass from blown-out windows.
The wounds that we received people with are mainly incised and contused wounds, all due to windows and window frames all shattering and flying around. And you see the result, how many people are here. We've already treated 60 or 70 people, and we still have a corridor full of people.
Despite reports of widespread panic, Russian authorities say emergency services were quickly mobilized and the area had been secured. They also said no radiation or other long-term dangers had been detected.